I'm Emma Palich, and I'm wanting to talk about things that matter. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was success and what's our idea of success. And so, this is something that I've been coming back to. I think I'm going through a bit of a midlife crisis. So, it's something that's been weighing on my mind, and a counselling session that I did during one of my moments, difficult moments, especially during lockdown. The counsellor was advised me to sort of take an audit of my life in a sense, and that led to me thinking about some things a bit more deeply that I hadn't thought about before. So, first of all, my success as a writer. The way that I've defined success as a writer is to write regardless of what's going on in my life, to get published and to keep getting published. And that's getting harder at the moment in terms of getting published. I've experimented and I've created an online profile in terms of getting things published in different venues and sort of working on freelance writing, which has really, fed my soul and imbued me with confidence. But one of the struggles that I'm going through at the moment is the publishing industry and seeking publication with my fiction and with books. So I'm having to redefine my idea of success. And so while it is always about writing and writing regardless of all the things that are going on in my life, it's also about looking at different areas that I can gain success in or seek success in. And one of them is taking control. And so this video and some of the things that I'm doing online, it's part of me gaining control of my writing identity and pursuing this identity as a writer in the different ways that we need to in this day and age. And so one of the ways that I'm getting control is I'm starting my newsletter, which is something that I did and I started and it was going well, and then I got self-conscious. There's always that voice in your head. And so I got self-conscious and I was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. But I love author newsletters. I love receiving author newsletters and having that relationship with authors that I like and admire. Why do I think that I can't do that or that I don't deserve that? I don't know. So that's something that I'm looking at. And then the control in my online presence. And I was talking to a friend recently and she said social media is privileging reels. So people making movies, which is something I'm very self-conscious about. So this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to look at doing more reels and having conversations and engaging with people. I've got a new project that I'm looking at, but I'm too self-conscious to talk about that right now. That's something that I'm announcing in my newsletter, so people who are interested, you can find out information about that through that medium right now. I'm a teacher in my life, my day-to-day life, my real life. And I teach high school. I teach English, humanities, English as an additional language. And my success as a teacher is to be present in the moment. And it's to engage the students. And for me, the way that I have found my way of dealing with some of the bureaucracy and the difficulties of teaching is to focus on the student and focus on what their success is. And so I work with students who have different individual needs. I've worked with students who have ADHD, who have autism, students who are at different levels in the learning, those students who are above average or above the standard, I should say, and need extension, the students who are below the standard and require support. And so what I realised is I can't judge success for each student. It's not a one size fits all. So when I've had an ADHD student, the success criteria is to write a sentence, and then they get an opportunity to engage in some activity that they like, something that allows them to move. With my students who are on the autism spectrum, it's to find an in and develop learning that engages with them and gives them what they need. Students who have low literacy, it's about focusing on their area of need, whether that is spelling, whether that is grammar, whether that is punctuation. And so that also makes me think about success for myself. It's about being individual for us, tailoring it for us, not comparing us to others. And I think that's probably partly what's led to my midlife crisis, is I am doing that a little bit and I'm trying to get away from it. I think the other areas when I think about myself, as a mother. So what's my success as a mother? And it's allowing my daughter to develop her own agency. I come from a non-English speaking background. Girls are supposed to behave a certain way. Boys are supposed to behave a certain way. I grew up in a household where I had less freedom and more scrutiny because I was the female. And there are things that I've had to overcome as an adult in terms of giving myself permission to do certain things. And so I'm really trying to get her to trust in herself and her agency and voice, so that she hopefully learns some of these things a lot sooner than I did and just surpasses me in terms of her achievements in her life. As a wife, that's an interesting one, because my husband and I, we have different communication styles, and usually it's the man, where it's the woman who's and I'm being stereotypical here, but the woman is like venting and wanting to share her feelings, and the man is the one, you should do this, you should do that. In my relationship, it's me. I'm the one who's like, you should do this, you should do that. And so something that I've really had to focus on is listening, just on giving my husband that space to share what he's going through and not to jump in. At the moment, I'm like, the day after, did you notice how I didn't say this thing? And he's like, so I need to work on that. I want to get the props, but I need to stop. And the same thing as a friend, that's something that I'm very guilty of. And so learning to, listen to my friends. Anyone who knows me knows that vomit mouth, low impulse control. And so, learning not to jump in and share every opinion I've got. And at the moment, I've sort of had to focus on my health. I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which was not a shock to the system. It's something that is in my family. And I did have gestational diabetes. And I experienced some hard times the last few years and some grief, and did not take care of myself. And my health got impacted. So at the moment, my success is I've had to, really look at my diet and my eating. But the thing that I'm achieving success in is in learning to move more. And I've always exercised, but it always becomes sporadic. And one of the issues is that everything I like doing is sedentary. So I like reading, I like writing, I like watching things on TV, I like meeting people, so everything is sitting. So one of the things that I've done is a standing desk, and I'm actually using that to film this. And I found that really, really helps with the moving. And so even today, in Melbourne, and we are in lockdown, and I'm doing remote teaching. And while I was teaching my students, I was playing a YouTube clip. We were looking at poetry and alliteration, so I was showing them an alliteration poem. And I was doing some exercise. So I was just doing some exercise like this. So they had to watch that while I was doing it, but it was good for me because it meant that I was moving and I was focusing on being in the moment. So I would love if you joined in the conversation and talked to me about your success. How are you defining it? What are some things that you think about in terms of success? How does it change? What are the areas that you want to work on? What are the areas that you think you're doing well? What have you got to say to me about some of my ideas and things that I'm talking about and struggling with? So, thank you for listening. There's a subscribe button to this I'm going to try and do more of these, and I'm also going to put information about my newsletter if you're interested. I'm Amra Pajalic, and I've just been talking to you about success, and I'm successfully finishing this video. Thank you.